I'm Theron,
And I'm Clay.
and welcome to the Paleozoic Era. So, the first environmental changes that have affected the course of evolution that would lead up to this era was the formation and the breakup of different continents, mountain building, volcanic activity, changes in the climate, and sea level. Now on to the Cambrian period. In this period, instead of life being only in the oceans, they have evolved and come up on land. This period has brought dramatic changes to the Earth. Geologic developments helped lead to the Cambrian explosion. More smaller continents formed after the supercontinent Rodinia broke up. This led to new environments in the seas between the new continents. The Earth continued to warm after the Ice Age that hit in the Precambrian period. This warming may be a contributor to evolution of new things. As a result of the Cambrian explosion, a number of different kinds of organisms came about in 15 million years. Cambrian animals were the first to have hard exteriors, such as shells. These shells allowed body organs to operate in a more protected and controlled environment. Arthropods are the first animals to have external skeleton that made protein called chitin. Today's arthropods include crabs and other crustaceans, as well as bugs.
So now on to the Ordovician period. Ordovician Earth. Plates move push the huge landmass of Gondwana south during the Ordovician continents were made up of Gondwana, South America, Africa, Australia, and Antarctica, and a little bit of Asia. Landmass including close to the equator, led to mountains and buildings in what we call eastern North America. Well, now on to Ordovician life. During this period, organisms lived in the ocean increased. The vertebrates became jawless, and they evolved. Jawless fish had a bony and exterior covering. There were other groups of fish that land plates did not seed were more like spores. The oxygen, so they multiplied on land. But geologists think an ice age made a mass extinction and the end of the Ordovician period. Now to Silurian period. Silurian Earth. Gondwana was the center of the South America pole during the Silurian period. In the tropics, shallow seas covered the plates of North America parts, caused sea levels to rise and flood, lowering parts of continents. Large barrier reefs formed in these shallow seas. Now on to Silurian life. The ocean reefs built corals evolved during the Silurian period. Jawless fish survived, now having thick armor plates. The first jawed fish evolved on land. Small plates similar to moss spread wet lowlands areas. There is also evidence from trace fossils and arthropods beginning to adapt life on land during Silurian. Perfect.
Now for the Devonian period. During the Devonian period, there were two continents. Gondwana was one of them and still occupied a large part of the southern hemisphere. The other continent was called Laurasia, which came about by a whole bunch of smaller continents colliding. These continents include North America, Europe, and parts of Asia. The center of Laurasia would be dry, while the outer edges would be tropical because they lay across the equator. Jawed fish such as sharks came about, except these fish had more bony skeletons than today's. As plants continued to evolve, the first forest developed. The forests were mostly made of trees, ferns, horsetails, and club mosses. Toward the end of the Devonian, the first amphibians evolved from fish. They laid their eggs in the water and had lungs that allowed them to breathe on land. There are fossils today that show that spiders and other wingless insects lived in the forest. Now for the Carboniferous period. Continents flooded again as sea levels rose and fell. In these areas, reef-building organisms laid down huge deposits of calcium carbonate. They come from thick layers of limestone. The first reptiles lay leathery shelled eggs that can survive out of water. Reptiles evolved from amphibians. Reptiles could live in drier areas where amphibians could not survive. Vast swamps called cold swamps forests, developed in wet tropical regions during the Carboniferous. The amphibians and winged insects that had recently evolved in these forests. Now for the Permian period. Permian Earth.
Permian Earth changed the globe. Everything drifted northward. There were everything a little hotter. Desert started in the middle of Pangea. There was no moist anywhere really. Sea levels were hot because it had the equator was on it, so you know.
Permian life. Life forms became more diverse in this period. Conifers became abundant and new types of amphibians, reptiles, and insects evolved. One group of the new reptiles were like mammals. Their fossils somewhat represent the jawbone skulls of actual mammals today. One other group had developed scales on their back like Dimetrodons. We aren't sure what caused the Permian extinction, but several of those theories are volcanoes, climate change, meteor impact, and the inability to evolve. So that's the end.
And haters are gonna hate.